Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today's Synastry is between Emmanuele Macron and his wife, Brigitte. So I'm going to get started on this. But before I do, I just want to let you know if you need a Synastry chart, my email is in the description box. Her Nessus and Mars are holding hands, and it's conjuncting his moon. And that's where the abuse lives. Mars adds fire, rage, and volatility, and his moon is in Taurus. So it should have been a safe place for him, a sanctuary, but instead it became a battlefield. And the abuse wasn't just emotional because it's conjuncting his moon. Taurus made it physical because Taurus is an earth sign. And I'm thinking that maybe she was drinking too much wine on that plane before she facepalmed him, because her Dionysus and Xanthopy conjuncts his point of fortune. And the point of fortune is like a mini Jupiter, and it magnifies whatever it touches. And Dionysus has to do with wine and partying, and Xanthopy has to do with domestic abuse. But here's the twist. Astrea is there too. Her Astrea conjuncts his moon. His Astrea conjuncts hers. That's the asteroid of loyalty to a fault, the one who stays until a bitter end. And so they're entangled in a loop of devotion because she couldn't walk away, and neither could he. Even when it's painful, and even when it possibly broke the dynamics between the two of them, that's the curse of Astrea. Love that refuses to let go, even when it should. And also, there's a lot of asteroids here in conjunction with both of their moons. So this is really the most important part of a Synastry chart. When you have the moons involved and the asteroids, it really is front and center with the dynamics between two people, especially. Now, his Ishtar and Humpty Dumpty conjuncts her moon. So she feels like he's fragile, like a falling apart loser in a way. And I think that after this incident on the plane, there was a body language, or actually a lip reader, that came forward and said that she could tell what they were saying. I don't know if that's true, but what I'm telling you is actually really a part of the dynamic between the two of them. So if it matches what she said, then she's correct, because the charts don't lie. But she can't fix him gently because she has moon in Aries, and that is an angry moon, and it brings forcefulness because it's ruled by Mars. So it's a war planet. And since his Ishtar is conjuncting her moon as well, this also adds insult to injury by bringing blow-ups and arguments. So the emotional weather between the two of them can turn stormy really fast. And staying connected feels like trying to heal something that keeps breaking. Now, her Agapenor and Swindle conjuncts his descendant. This is unconditional love tangled with deception. On his side, there's more, because his Agapenor and Vertex conjuncts her ascendant. And like I said, Agapenor has to do with unconditional love and devotion. So there's this fated draw to who she is. He's magnetized to her presence, and he sees her as part of his destiny because his Vertex is conjuncting her ascendant. So this is like a double whammy of a soul bond devotion. Now I'm going to get to the theme of the relationship, or where fate comes in, because his Bacchus, Karma, Sisyphus all conjuncts her North Node and her Vertex. So that's like a cosmic knot of duty, karma, and overindulgence. Now, Bacchus, that is the asteroid that has to do with indulgence, specifically too much of something. If you have this in your chart, it depends on the rest of the chart, because Bacchus can have the energies of overindulgence in a whole bunch of different areas, overeating, over shopping, hoarding, that sort of thing. But in this case, it has to do with being a workaholic, overworking, too much work, because his Bacchus overlays into her 6th house, the house that rules work and service. So the indulgence plays out, like I said, in the possibility of being a workaholic. It centers around service and duty and is conjuncting her North Node. So that's the theme, one of the themes in the relationship for her between the two of them. Now his karma and Sisyphus falls into her 5th house and is also conjuncting her North Node. And that's the house of love and pleasure. So that's where the emotional, the cost racks up, and karma is here with a past energy coming forward. And it's it's karma, but it's demanding balance in some way, shape, or form. And I think that has to do with the work. And also there's Sisyphus there. And Sisyphus has to do with the grind. It's like you keep doing something over and over and you're not really getting anywhere. It's like you're rolling the boulder up the hill, rolling it up the hill, and then it falls back down the hill, and then you have to start all over again. So that is the energies of Sisyphus. So there's this burden here, the cycle that never ends. So she didn't just fall in love. She stepped into a soul contract written in loops of devotion, service, and sacrifice, and the energies of something not being quite enough, if that makes sense. Now, she's a Virgo rising, and that makes her the dutiful one. She's precise, analytical, and she's good at managing appearances because she has Virgo on the ascendant. But his Proserpina and Saturn conjuncts her ascendant, and that can bring a very strong karmic burden into the relationship. And Proserpina pulls her into the underworld. It's like power beneath the surface, and there's control here dressed up in responsibility, because Saturn has to do with responsibility and authority. Now, her North Node is in the 6th house, like I said. I have to go back to that because this all ties together and it tells a story, especially with the asteroids. So her North Node is in the 6th house, and this is a fated path through work, service, and public duty, like I said. But there's the abuse of power here somewhere, because her North Node is conjuncting the asteroid Andreka. And that has the energies of corruption and abuse of power. So her destiny is tangled in a cycle of corrupted service, I think. She's not just a servant of duty. She may be serving something or involved in the service and duty in her career that betrays her truth or truth in some way. And I'm getting a lot of this has to do with the political arena, because her Venus and Sun is in the 9th house. And that has to do with her identity and her love of teaching, foreign politics. But his lie asteroid is conjuncting both her Sun and Venus. So here is where the deception comes in. More deception, not only because of her Andreka, which has to do, like I said, with corruption and possible evilness in a way on the extreme side, but his lie is now coming. His lie asteroid is stepping forward, conjuncting her Sun and her Venus. So there's this polished surface. We have Venus and Virgo, all virtue and diligence, and it's wrapped around a deeper deception because her swindle conjuncts his descendant, and it ties back to lies associated with connections in politics, foreign politics, and in the relationship. Because the 9th house rules foreign politics, it also rules teaching, which makes sense because she was a teacher. Now, His Pluto opposes her moon and sun, herself and the ego, and this is a battlefield for control. There's control issues between the two of them. And with his moon squaring her Pluto, the power wasn't just mutual. It was an emotional combustion with these power struggles between the two of them. And they're both triggered by these power controls because his Mars conjuncts her north node. His Mars conjuncts her south node. So this means that in a past life, they were possible warriors, maybe locked into battles over pride, royalty, and control, because it's in the sign of Leo. But in this case, between the two of them, I don't really see like a strong peace treaty in this relationship because his Pluto is making an inconjunct that's 150 degrees to her Mars. So there's friction here without understanding, and there's no resolution because we have Pluto and Mars in conjunct. So there's this disconnect of power towards her and her willpower, and she reacts physically because her Nessus is conjuncting her Mars. Does that make sense? His Pluto is making an inconjunct to her Mars, and she reacts impulsively and physically because Mars is a war planet. It just happens, erupts, and it adds the energy, explodes more because Nessus is conjuncting her Mars. So this inconjunct, it's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. There's just friction, and they don't come together when it comes to the power between the two of them. It doesn't match. So this is not, I've said this so many times, this is not a bells and whistles love affair. I mean, you don't have flowers or Moet and Chandon champagne, and there's written karmic contracts here and power control issues and a bond that's built really on service and duty. So that is all I have between these two. I will be back again with more Synastry charts, and if you're interested in hearing about those, hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop, and like, share, and subscribe to support my channel. I will be back shortly. Have a nice day.